Be brave, you got this. What's up guys, this is Jordan Miller from Breathe Heavy, and today I'm gonna offer you 21 tips that you can use to either start your YouTube channel or to take your YouTube channel to the next level. I've been on YouTube only for a month at the time of this recording, and these 21 tips I personally use, and I'm excited to share this knowledge with you. I know that these tips that I'm currently employing are gonna help take my channel to the next level, and I wanna see that same success for you. This video is broken down into two parts: the mindset and mechanics of YouTube. The mindset section is essentially getting your mind right to be able to tackle this pretty large journey you're about to embark on for YouTube, because it requires dedication, patience, and grit. And the mechanics is gonna focus on the nitty-gritty, for instance, your YouTube thumbnail, title, searchability, watch time, things like that. There's a lot to cover in this video, so we're just gonna jump right into it. But first, you know the drill. Play that intro. So in case you don't know who I am, my name is Jordan Miller. I own and run a pop music news community called Breathe Heavy, and the forum is called Exhale. Exhale reaches over 300,000 individual people every single month. So I encourage you after your YouTube video binge to head over to breatheheavy.com and please create an account. It's completely free, it takes less than 30 seconds, and you're gonna be joining a community of like-minded people who love pop music, love pop culture, and of course, Britney Spears. Creating videos for YouTube should be a lot of fun, but I get that it's a lot of hard work. So these tips I think you'll find really valuable. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video. That's where I'm gonna include my favorite and probably most important tip. If you want some good YouTube karma, please leave a comment. I'm gonna start with the mindset section because if you don't have your mind right, then the YouTube thumbnail and title and all that stuff's not gonna matter because you won't even be enjoying this. Tip number one, know your why. The first step in your YouTube journey should be asking yourself the question, why do I want to create videos on YouTube? Obviously, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just something that you have to want to do. You feel a burning desire to create content for people. The reason why asking yourself why is so important is because it can save you a lot of time and energy. If you ask yourself, why do I want to create YouTube content? And if the answer is, I want to make money or whatever, which is perfectly fine. If the answer isn't, I think I'll genuinely enjoy creating content, then you're gonna have a huge uphill battle with YouTube. Life is short, so it's important not to waste your time on things that you aren't super passionate about. I created another video, essentially a motivational speech, encouraging people to pursue their passions. Basically, if you're working a 9-to-5 or doing a job you don't even like to do, please watch that video because I want you to be able to carpe diem. And I get that there are times in life where you have to do things that you don't want to, but I'm speaking generally. So if you're waking up day after day and just hating life, this is your sign to make a change, and I think creating YouTube content can be something that's extremely profound for your life. I'm personally doing YouTube because I want to share my experiences with Breathe Heavy as an entrepreneur. I want to create a community and I want to entertain. But most importantly, I want to help, which hopefully this video is doing. Which leads me into tip number two, follow your passions. I know this is a very duh tip, but far too many people are chasing the money, and doing that on YouTube is not sustainable. There are a few mechanisms YouTube's put in place to stop people from basically just signing up and throwing garbage content out there in the hopes that it will go viral and make them money. In order for you to become monetized on YouTube, there are two important thresholds that you have to reach. The first being 1,000 subscribers, and the second being 4,000 hours worth of watch time, both within a year. YouTube created this kind of wall because they are encouraging people to actually spend the time making quality videos that people want to watch. Now I mentioned watch time, and I'm gonna get into that in a separate tip in a little bit. Also, creating videos just for the sake of generating revenue will eventually burn you out. That's why you have to be passionate about it. If the passion isn't there, if you're not creating videos about something that you genuinely love, then it won't last forever. And ideally, we're thinking of the long game here. You're gonna wanna do YouTube for the foreseeable future, not just for a couple months or a year. Tip number three, treat YouTube like a business. Making money is awesome, and YouTube can be a really powerful way to do that. So go into creating videos with a business mindset, meaning you are doing this for fun, but also with the intention in mind that you can create money. It's a bit of a juggling act, but it's so important to find balance with both. In my opinion, if you're serious about making YouTube videos, then eventually you're gonna wanna see your hard work pay off and make money. It's possible to get a lot of fulfillment out of hard work. Tip number four, make videos that set you apart. You are unique from anyone else, and it's your mission to showcase that. Finding your identity on YouTube is actually a really profound act because you begin to recognize things about yourself that you wouldn't have necessarily seen had you not been creating content. Content creation is a unique endeavor, so you're gonna encounter unique experiences. If you have a cool skill or talent or job or story, whatever it is, Use YouTube as your platform to share that with people. Tip number 5, forget about instant gratification. I know that we live in an age of instant gratification where we can open our iPhone and see all the new notifications and comments and all these sort of things, but YouTube doesn't really work like that in the beginning. Trust me, I'm very guilty of this. If I don't see that I got new subscribers or comments or views, I start to get a little discouraged, but I have to remind myself that YouTube is a marathon and not a sprint. So it's important to create realistic expectations in the beginning so you don't get disappointed. If you get disappointed, then you could get discouraged and just give up altogether. Know that every YouTuber who started out was in the same position as you, who had either 0 or a very small subscriber count. And it took them years of hard work to build on top of one another to finally get to where they are. One thing I really want you to recognize with this is that you're supposed to enjoy the journey. I want you to plan on uploading 50 videos before you can have any sort of real expectations for results. In the beginning, you get this opportunity to really learn about yourself and be able to try different things, and that's a luxury that you won't be able to necessarily have down the road. Smaller YouTube channels, I think, are really underrated, and so I know that there's this rush to get bigger and bigger, including myself, but I want you to really just enjoy the moment. Tip number 6, create value. Your video should create value for other people. Meaning, in one way or another, the person watching your video is gonna have a better life because of it. Whether that's because they were entertained, or they learned something, or they just genuinely enjoyed it. Whatever the case may be, if your videos don't provide value, then you're not gonna get the engagement you need to grow. You gotta think like this: my videos are gonna better someone's day because XYZ. If you can't answer that question, then you really need to kind of hone in on why that is. If your videos don't provide value, then it's just gonna sit in some dark corner on YouTube and nobody got time for that. Tip number 7, experiment. Growing a YouTube channel is a very empowering but slightly confusing place to be. What videos are gonna resonate the most with your prospective audience? One of the best ways to find that out is to experiment with different kinds of videos. I personally, in my first month, experimented with a few different kinds of videos because I wanted to see what worked and what didn't. I did an album review, a motivational speech, a reaction video, a Q&A, and it gave me the opportunity to see what people were engaging with and what they were just not feeling. It's just kind of hit or miss in the beginning to see what's gonna stick. And it's worth pointing out that it's actually easier in the beginning to experiment because once you kind of gain an audience, they're gonna have a kind of expectation of the content that they want to see. So to be able to stray away from that tends to be a little more difficult later on. So the beginning is a very good opportunity for you to see what's gonna work and what doesn't. Tip number 8, find your niche. So it's a great idea to experiment, like I said, but you also need to kind of think about what niche you want to belong to. Finding your niche is essential. It's better to speak to a smaller audience directly than try to be the Walmart of YouTube and try to talk to everybody. Like, no offense, none of us are Lady Gaga, so we're not gonna be able to reach the masses. So it's important for you to kind of narrow your scope. My advice is to narrow down your niche by 3 or 4 times. For example, if you wanted to make videos about food, you wouldn't just be creating cooking recipes. You would create cooking recipes for women who are working moms who want to make recipes for dinner. Now you're having a much more narrow scope and you can talk directly to working moms who want to make quick dinners. I'm not sure where that example came from. I'm not a working mom, but anyway, let's go on to tip number 9, fake it till you make it. Look, I'll just be real with you, no one really knows what they're doing in the beginning, so you just kind of have to fake it till you make it. Essentially, in the beginning, YouTube is a lot about trial and error. It's important to get comfortable with the idea that you're going to make mistakes. In fact, mistakes are a crucial part of this whole process. Without mistakes, you're not gonna learn and you're not gonna grow and you're not gonna get better. Your videos will end up just being the same the entire time, which obviously we don't want. We wanna continually get better as time goes on. And you get better by making mistakes. The simple act of creating videos is what's going to get you to that place that you want to be, where you have a huge channel and you're making lots of money and you're getting lots of views. But you gotta earn that. And part of that process is making mistakes. So these growing pains you're going to experience, just embrace it. Tip number 10, celebrate the little victories. This is something that my dad's instilled in me, and it's especially important in the beginning to really embrace these little wins because everything is so new and a little bit scary and daunting that when you get a new comment or you get a view, sit in the moment and enjoy that. If you got 1 new subscriber and your video either bettered their day or maybe even changed their life, you've changed someone's life. New video posted, celebrate. New comment, celebrate. New subscriber, celebrate. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint, so enjoy the successes, both big and small. Tip number 11, be dedicated. Success on YouTube does not happen overnight. It takes a lot of hard work day in and day out. Know that going into this, so you're not gonna be so impatient. If you plant a seed, you're not gonna see a flower the very next day. You gotta continually care for the seed and show it love and show it attention and water it, and eventually you'll see that it blossoms into something beautiful. It takes those important ingredients of time and energy for the flower to blossom. Now that we've covered the mindset aspect of YouTube, we're gonna swing into the mechanic side of things so we can get your videos seen. But I'm gonna do it over here. Tip number 12 is creating a compelling thumbnail for your video. Your thumbnail might be even more important than the video itself. You could spend days creating an amazing video, but if no one clicks on it because your thumbnail's not enticing, then you're in trouble. You gotta make sure that you spend a good amount of time from start to finish dreaming up an awesome thumbnail idea. My advice is to think simply, but make sure it has impact. I personally spend at least an hour or two working on my thumbnails just because I wanna make sure that they're the most impactful as possible and that they're gonna grab people's attention. Because I know if you create an okay thumbnail and you don't have people clicking on it, all that time I put into the video doesn't even matter. Tip number 13, your title and your description needs to be epic. After your thumbnail, I think your title is the next most important part of your video. It's the same kind of ideology that if you have a lame title or something that's not compelling and people don't want to click on your video, then what's the point of even creating the video in the first place? Now we're gonna fall down a little bit of a YouTube rabbit hole right now because there is a method to their madness. The YouTube algorithm is trying to keep people on the platform for as long as possible. That's called watch time. You want your videos to have as much watch time as possible. The higher your average of watch time, the more watch time minutes you get, which means you're closer to that YouTube threshold of 4,000 hours. You'll notice the title of this video is very attention grabbing because there's gonna be a lot of people that want to create YouTube video channels in 2021. You gotta remember that YouTube is owned by Google, which is the most powerful search engine on the planet, and YouTube in itself is also a search engine. So you gotta begin to understand what does and doesn't work on YouTube so you can shape your content around that. You need to keep in mind that you wanna create content that people are searching for and also content that you genuinely enjoy. If you can marry those two together, you're gonna find a lot of success. One little tip to find out what people are searching for on YouTube is to open an incognito window or a private browser tab, go to YouTube and start to type in different searches. For instance, how to, or Lady Gaga, or why did I, and just see what comes up, and then you can kind of begin to think of ideas around those topics because people are already searching for them. Also, the description of your video is extremely important because YouTube takes that into consideration when they want to promote your video or not. So if your description is something lame and doesn't actually describe what the video is about, then there's less likelihood of YouTube promoting it. Remember, that's one of our main goals here is you want YouTube to show your channel to new eyes. That's when you really begin to grow. Tip number 14, post at least twice a week. Other people will tell you can get away with one video per week, but in my opinion, 2 is the way to go because it gives you double the opportunity for YouTube to show your videos to other people. And also 2 videos per week is a pretty tall order, so it's gonna challenge yourself. And that's something that we want with this YouTube journey because the more opportunities you get to make mistakes, to make videos, whatever, you're gonna become more efficient. And getting more efficient at creating YouTube content is gonna help your YouTube channel snowball. Remember, 2 videos per week is double the likelihood that you could blow up. Tip number 15, create videos with long watch time. This I also consider to be one of the most important tips. YouTube rewards channels with videos that have long watch time, meaning people are engaged watching the video for a good amount of time. The longer people are watching your videos, the better for your YouTube channel in the short and long term. YouTube could start to promote a video that you made a year ago simply because it had good watch time, and your channel could explode because now it's showing it to people that are brand new. And you're gonna have a new audience that wouldn't have stumbled upon your video had you not been making videos that were consistently good with great watch time this entire time. In essence, create videos that will keep people watching for as long as possible. I mean, hey, we're 15 tips in and you're still watching this channel, so I must have good watch time, right? Right? Tip number 16, invest in a decent to good quality camera and audio. Now, if you're absolutely strapped for cash, then just use your iPhone, but in my opinion, I think using a decent quality camera and good audio is essential. You're not gonna get as much watch time if people are watching your videos that have poor quality video and poor audio, especially audio. I think you can actually get away with like lower quality looking videos, but the audio is imperative. I'm using a $25 lavalier mic, and I think this audio sounds far better than the audio that's included on my camera. The camera I'm using is a Canon M50, and I bought it used off an app called OfferUp. So it doesn't mean you need to go out and buy the most expensive piece of equipment, but I do think it's important that you invest a little bit of money on good quality equipment so your videos are at least semi-polished. Or if you just can't spend a single cent right now, at least use your phone, but just keep it in the back of your mind that you're gonna want to invest in a decent camera soon. Tip number 17, get to know your editing style. Right now, I use iMovie to edit all my videos, and it's a fairly efficient tool, and it allowed me to get going right away. And I gotta say, I'm super impressed with the quality of my videos. And the more that I edit, the more I begin to learn what kind of style that I have. Also, editing, I think, is a very make or break thing for your channel. You can have lower quality looking video or whatever, but if you edit the video to be unique and creative that suits you, I think your audience is gonna really gravitate towards that. So the most important part is just to have fun with it. Make your editing style creative and playful and fun. Tip number 18, share your videos on social media. I know you're shy and you're not gonna wanna share your videos with your family and friends. It's easier to share the videos with people that are anonymous on the internet, but it's so important to just get those first views and those first comments to kind of get the ball rolling. Also, I think you could be underestimating how cool it is for your friends and family to see you embark on this journey. So I think if you show that off, that's really powerful. Just don't be afraid to post your videos on Instagram, post them on Facebook, anywhere that you have a social media platform. Tell the world. I personally don't shy away from sharing my YouTube videos all over the place because my end goal is to get as many people as possible to see these videos. So while I do find it a little bit uncomfortable sometimes to share this with my family and friends, I know that the end goal of reaching as many people as possible is more important than how I feel uncomfortable about something. YOLO, life is too short, and share a side of yourself with people that you're close to that they wouldn't necessarily see if you didn't unveil it yourself. Be brave, you got this. Tip number 19, support others. There's literally millions of people on YouTube creating content. There's 400 hours worth of videos uploaded every single minute to YouTube. So it's important for you to go to other creators' YouTube channels and leave comments, hit their like buttons, and just be engaged with them. Because not only are you going to potentially create and establish new relationships with fellow creators, but also it's my opinion that it's good karma and that you're gonna get back what you give out. The element of community is so important. It's literally the foundation of my business, Breathe Heavy and Exhale. So without community, my business wouldn't exist. It's important for you to harness that on your YouTube channel as well. Tip number 20, be open to feedback. Now this one in particular has been a little bit difficult for me to adjust to because I tend to have this part of my personality that thinks that I'm always right, that I know what I'm doing, which I also know is untrue, especially as I begin my YouTube journey. So I've gotten comments from people saying that my mannerisms look weird, or the lighting in the back is too dark, or just whatever the case may be. And instead of getting fired up or fighting against them, I actually have taken that into consideration and taken these tips and have applied them to these videos. So hopefully they become better videos and I'm a better person for it. I think deep down, ultimately people want to see me succeed, and I think people want to see you succeed. So if people offer you feedback, just be open to it. Now, what I'm not saying is that if someone totally drags you or criticizes you, that you should be cool with that. I just had a recent experience of someone calling me a and it really hurt my feelings, but instead of combating them or fighting them, I actually just took the higher road because I knew that this wasn't feedback, it was just some negative toxic comment on the internet, and really happy people don't say that, so I actually feel kind of bad for them. Anyway, I digress. We're on the last and final tip, which I consider to be the most important, so I'm gonna pass it back. Tip number 21, and probably the most important, just start. Your mind's gonna wanna stop you from pursuing this YouTube journey because it's fear of the unknown, it's scary, it requires a lot of work, and our brains tend to wanna be comfortable, and it doesn't like change. Just know going into this that you're gonna encounter all these kinds of negative emotions, but it's up to you to override them and know that you're bettering your life for this. And that includes small YouTubers who are already online and creating videos. It's just taking things to the next level. Just take one simple step today that's gonna move you forward towards creating your YouTube channel. Whatever that means for you, whether that's just creating a YouTube account or investing in a camera or writing down one of your ideas. Do something versus just thinking about it. Once you take that first step, take the next step. and then take the next step, and take the next step. Eventually, you're gonna see that you're taking step after step, and you're gonna be able to look back and see how far you've come. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. I'm so excited to see where 2021 takes us, and even more excited to watch our YouTube journeys blossom. And while I got you, please make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell. That really helps me out a lot, helps my channel grow. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon, and happy 2021.